Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bacon. Welcome to the show, y'all. Look here. I know this is day 2 of At Gunpoint, right? Talking about GMAC. But let me give you the quick rundown real quick because I don't want you to forget. If you didn't answer question 1, you go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 so you can answer question 1 that's in the description box, you know what I'm saying, on the show. Because I got another question for this particular set of episodes that you're going to need to answer for the week because somebody's going to win $50. I ain't got to lie. Y'all know I'm in the penitentiary. I'm going to give somebody $50 a week for answering the questions for the week's worth of shows, right? Now, how you can win this money is you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to email me at doingtimewithjoe@gmail.com with all of the answers, and the one that got the correct answer, right? The one with the correct answer, one of you will be selected, and you're going to receive an email from my producer, right? You're going to receive an email from my producer, and she's going to ask you, do you have, you know, a CashApp or whatever the case may be, so that she can send you this $50, right? It's real, legit, and all this and that, right? I ain't playing no games. I don't play no game about no money, y'all. I don't play no games, and I know y'all don't. So y'all enter this, you know what I'm saying, contest, and you can win you this $50 sent straight to your Cash App. No questions asked. You just got to answer all the questions correctly. If the questions are not answered correctly, you're not going to hear from her. She's not going to respond to you. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to respond at all. You got to get all the questions correct. You know what I'm saying? And then you have a chance to win this money. But let me get back to the show. Now look, GMAC asked his COS what happens if you try to leave Gangster Disciples. He told him you get beat up. But he asked him, he said, why are you asking me this? Why are you asking me this? And he couldn't tell him. He couldn't tell him. It was something that happened to him. When he started to tell GMAC what had happened to him and all that, because he wanted to tell him about this. I mean, he wanted to tell the COS about this dream. But ironically, every time the thought entered his head to tell his COS about the dream, his throat got so dry that he couldn't speak. He couldn't say one word about it. Not one word about it. And he said, man, I'm just asking. See, he couldn't say it was for him. He couldn't get it out. He couldn't get it out because it was something compelling him. You're going to have to get out on your own. That's going to mean something in a minute. Y'all just got to pay attention, okay? Pay attention. So listen. But that feeling stayed on him. His COS leave, everything, you know what I'm saying? And he goes about his day. And now, you know, GMAC, you know what I'm saying, is doing his thing and whatnot. He's going about his day. And he's making these decisions concerning the brothers. Putting this brother in violation, or this brother got to do this brother got to do it. All of these different types of things are happening. And GMAC is still indecisive about what he needs to do. But he knows what he's got to do. And he wants to tell somebody about it. So he goes to talk to the prison chaplain. When he gets to the prison chaplain, he's telling the prison chaplain, you know what I'm saying, that he's having second thoughts and all this and that, and what should he do? And he says, I had this dream. And when he says the word, he had this dream out loud, his throat didn't get dry. His throat didn't get dry. So he proceeded to tell the prison chaplain about the dream, and it just captivated him. It blew him away. And he leaned forward and he told Gary, he said, listen to me, son. You have to do what you were told to do in the dream. If you don't, this is about more than you being a gangster. This is about where you're going to spend eternity. Eternity. He said, you can't keep living that lifestyle. And Gary told him, he said, but they going to hurt me. He said, that's a small price to pay for what it's going to be if you don't do it. And when he said that, just tears just fell. I mean, you know, you ever had a cry where it just, the tears are so big and they warm and they just falling down your face and you can't stop them? That's what happened to him. The tears started pouring down his face. Started pouring down his face and he couldn't stop them. And he's crying and he's convulsing, and the chaplain told him, get it out. He said, because you got some things to do. He said, this is going to be a big deal for you. And Gary looked at him and he said, I don't know if I can do it. He said, you can do it. You can do it. He said, because if you don't do it, what you got in store is not going to be good for you. He said, do you believe the dream? He said, I believe it. He said, then you got to do it. You got to do it. So a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, a month goes by, and he cannot get this off of, and that feeling is more and more intense. And every time he tries to tell one of the brothers, every time he tries to tell anybody other than this chaplain about what happened, his throat gets dry to the point to where he cannot even speak. And then after a couple of weeks, his voice would get so dry just in regular conversation that he could not even speak. And he was losing his voice. Y'all pay attention to what I'm telling you now. He was losing his voice when he talked to the brothers. He was losing his voice when he talked to peons. I mean, physically, literally losing his voice when he was talking to people, right? And he thought something was wrong. And so he went to the clinic. And he gets to the clinic. When he gets up to the clinic, they examine him, look down his throat, all this and that. They say, ain't nothing wrong with you. Get up out of here. See, because them folks ain't got time to be playing with you. So they tell him ain't nothing wrong, get up out of here. So when he leaves, he's puzzled. He knows what's happening. He remembers the dream. He's like, what is happening to me? What is going on? What is going on? So now he's sitting there and he's thinking and he's thinking. He's trying to figure out what's his next move and all this and that. Ain't no way around it. He's acting like, what was his name? Jonah in the whale. Jonah in the whale got told by God to go to Nineveh to preach, right? He didn't want to go to Nineveh. He got swallowed up by the whale. And then when he decided, oh my goodness, with the right motivation, listen to me, with the right motivation, meaning being swallowed up by that whale, he's like, I'm going to go to Nineveh. It's got to be better than this. And he was coughed out. He was coughed out. Now see, G-Mac's motivation, not to go to hell. He didn't want to go to hell. Everything was happening to him. It was confirming something happened in that dream. Something was real about that dream, but he don't want to acknowledge it. He don't want to believe it. Because if he believes it, then he got to do something about it. And that's how we are. If we believe something, we're compelled to do something about it. And if you don't do anything about it and you believe it, then you're a coward. Listen to me. Don't get mad at me. Look, y'all know I love y'all. Don't get mad at me about what I just said. Because we've all been cowards from time to time. Not in the sense of, what you might characterize street coward. And I ain't talking about that, y'all. Don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is being afraid, physically afraid to do the right thing. That's what I'm talking about. See, a lot of us will get like it. A lot of us will. And G-Mac was no different. He was afraid of what was happening to him. He was afraid that if he did this, what he was going to have to suffer. And I understand what that feels like. I do. I know a lot of brothers that wanted to walk away and were told that it's going to be a physical violation if they do. I watched this one brother, you know what I'm saying? He was a blood though. I watched this one brother get beat to the point that he fell down on his knees and they kicked him in his face and knocked him out. Blood poured out his nose and his mouth and he fell down in the middle of the yard. And everybody, me included, we all walked around him and looked at him like calling him a sucker, calling him weak, calling him this and calling him that. And now that I think about it, we called him in because we were scared. And we didn't want nobody to believe that we would even put ourselves in a position like that to be beat like that. Oh my goodness. But then later on, he got up and he stood up. So Gary was tripping. He was tripping. He didn't know which way to go, what to do, or anything like that. So one day, he's talking to his COS again. And for some reason, his COS asked him. He said, who are you talking about that wants to get out? And without even thinking about it, it just came out. He said, me. He said, man, I can't do this no more. He said, man, I'm tired. I'm ready to walk away from it. So his COS, listen to, I want you to understand what I'm about to say. His COS saw that as an opportunity for himself. See, listen, what I told y'all about motivations, see, sometimes, you know, people will see a situation and they'll assume that this situation is going to be beneficial to them, and they'll give you advice. Listen. They'll give you advice based on how it's going to benefit them, right? But see, this turns out to be what G-Mac needed to hear. He wasn't concerned with what bro was talking about. So he told G-Mac, he said, look, he said, I'll holler at the brothers for you, and I'll get things situated for you because you've been good to us, bro. And I'm going to make sure everything work out for you, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got to really just put hands on you or nothing like that. That's just what a lot of brothers say, but you ready to go, you done put in your work. Oh, he macking hard. He putting it down to the point to where it's like G-Mac thinking, oh, this gonna be all right. I can leave just like that, I'm straight. But see, bro had an ulterior motive. You see, because he's COS. And until they pick somebody else, right, it's gonna put him in a position to be either number one or number two. Either way. You see what I'm saying? He gonna be in that seat. In that real seat of power. One of the top two spots. So he started manipulating the situation. So he tell bro, but you're going to have to say that to your number two and the secretary so we can go and get it all taken care of. And we get it taken care of and we'll take it to the body, we'll do all this. He's acting like he's going to help G-Mac. So G-Mac gets this false courage, you know what I'm saying? This courage built up off of this falseness that he's presenting him anyway. And he tells his number two, and he tells the secretary. Now the COS, the number two, the secretary, and him, G-Man, all the top four sitting in the room. And he's breaking it down. And he sees that all of a sudden they showing him their teeth. They looking at him because immediately they start to recognize him as somebody that look different. You see, because the COS done already planted that poison in their heads. He abandoned the struggle. He ain't straight. We can't trust him, right? And then when Gary comes in there and says these words to him, everybody hearing it, it's like, oh, he abandoned the struggle. He's a sucker. He's this, he's that. And they tell him, ain't nothing with you. Ain't nothing with you. Now, the campaign begins. Immediately they tell him you under house arrest. GD arrest, y'all. They tell him to get to the cell. He used to be in charge just a few minutes ago. And now that fear washes all over him. He don't know what to do. They got two gangsters standing on his door. Don't let him go nowhere but to the shower. No phone call, no nothing. If he want to go to the microwave, he got to get in the bowl. They take his food to the microwave and spit in it. Bring it back to him all stirred up. He don't know it. He eating. You understand what I'm saying? He don't understand what's really going on, right? But he thinking, okay, well, they ain't beat me up. Everything gonna be straight. Now, they done spread the word around the whole compound, not just to the brother, but to every affiliation on the compound. G-Mac ain't straight no more. Ain't nothing with him. Nothing. So now, after they done put together the new leadership, his COS end up being number two end up being number one. Now they let him out. He stripped. He ain't nothing. And they take him in that cell up in the gym. They got 6 brothers that go in the gym, in that cell. I mean, in that room in the gym where they used to have a pool table at, and they beat him. They beat him mercilessly. They beat him. Stripped his clothes off his back and beat him with a belt. beat him. He lay down on the ground crying. Like, why y'all doing this to me? It was like it was too much, but they were sending a message. They were not only sending a message to the compound, they were sending a message to all the other individuals that's a part of Gangster Disciple. If this is what you want, this is what it's going to cost. A pound of flesh. Scared everybody. Everybody was spooked. They didn't know what to think. If they'll do him like that, imagine what they'll do to me. He's a sucker. He's weak. He abandoned the struggle. And they did that every 2 or 3 days. Beat him to the point to where the word got back to the warden, because the chaplain heard about it, because he hadn't been up to the chapel in a while. So the chaplain started asking questions, because he the only one that know the story, right? He the only one that know the story. So the chaplain asked him about him, and he heard about they beat him. And the chaplain is somewhat happy, but he's concerned because he's thinking about his soul. So the chaplain go looking. They find him in his cell. They got the brothers on the cell. And the chaplain go down there, and the gangsters stand on the cell. They wouldn't even let the chaplain in the cell. So the chaplain leaves. He comes back with the warden and the captain and the lieutenant, and they tell him, get off the door. They got about 4 or 5 officers with them. So folks know, get off the door. They go in there, they find him in the bed, semi-conscious, beaten, broken. They call the nurses. The nurses come down there. They come and get him. They take him, put him in protective custody. He don't say nothing. He don't say nothing. All they say they remember him doing was laughing. Just laughing. All he kept saying is, I'm free. And he had this joy, this glow about him that nobody really understood. Nobody understood it. Because they were looking at him and they were trying to figure out, wait a minute, what? Explain this to me. But they couldn't explain it. Nobody could. Nobody could explain it. He was overjoyed because he knew what it was. He knew what was about to happen. He knew now he had a chance. This wasn't about, him getting out of prison. This wasn't about him being liked by the administration. He had been convicted to the point to where, he was doing the right thing for the first time in his life. He was doing the right thing without really any of the worldly things coming towards him. Because this is all he had ever wanted, was to be liked. And now he was being loved, but it hurt. And he just laughed. And they put him in protective custody. They got him in protective custody. He's staying in there. Now they got him coming out, and he's going around and he's talking to different individuals that are back there in PC in protective custody. That used to be gangsters. That used to be drug dealers. That used to be addicts. He's around there. He's talking to them and he's encouraging them. And he's sharing his story for the first time since, this happened, other than the chaplain. He can tell people about it, and his throat is not dry. His throat is not dry. So the word gets out what he's doing in the back, right? A gangster gets out of protective custody, and he goes to the compound. And he's telling everybody what he's doing. And Brunham beat him up because they didn't want him out there spreading the word that, Gary's in the back and he's happy. They didn't want that. They were so mad at him for doing what he was doing that they beat the brother up that came out and was talking about it. But everybody's hearing about it. The warden is liking it. He's encouraging people. People are stopping using drugs and all these different types of things. And it's time for him to go for parole. Parole board hear about what he's doing. They granted him parole. He going home in 60 days or less. They get his home plan together. They get everything worked out and all these different types of things. But what he don't know is brother they got one last trick for him. They done sent word to the streets. G-Mac abandoned the struggle. And listen, them brothers that got him to kidnap, that gal and all this net for the dope boy is now part of the organization. Now they spooked. Wait a minute. He might tell it. If you want to know how this turns out, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.